Hello, all. This is kind of part two of what to expect when you go to CAHPERD, how to appropriately plan, some conversation about some professionalism and things that we're going to be doing, etc., and so forth. So you will probably be getting a letter like this. I think this is the one. Yep. And so this is just going to highlight some things that are really, really important for you as far as a future professional, as well as a kind of a current professional in this culture and this field of physical education, and certainly as a representative of Sac State, yourself and myself, the class, and so forth. So just some couple things I'll kind of go through. And again, this is going to include things like where you've got to be, what you should wear, what you should bring, things like that. And right now, if it's only a week or so before we go, you probably already have made your hotel arrangements. If you're flying, you've made your flight arrangements, but there are always people who carpool. There's always people who are willing to share hotels. And so, definitely reach out to me if you are needing or wanting to find some people that you can kind of work together with to get there and to share rooms. And there's even been some Airbnbs, which I'm not a fan of. And I'll talk about why that's probably not the best idea. As we kind of get down there. Actually, I don't know if it's going to be down there. So let me tell you right now, most of the time, and I want to say that people have tried to do Airbnbs about 5 of the time of the 23 years that I've been here, probably 4 or maybe 3 of those times it's been problematic. The deposits have been lost. People have been in trouble. Things have been broken. Things are just way out of control, and that's ridiculous. So unless you are willing to put your credit card on the line for something like that, just know that that's typically this recipe for disaster. And you're never going to be there. So just get yourself a hotel. It doesn't have to be at the conference center. They are a little expensive, but it's nice to not have to Uber or travel anywhere. Just the hotel and the convention centers are usually connected. Depending on how close the conference is, the hotel rooms could be all gone. If someone lives in the area that the conference is in, and a good hotel, good places, last year we went to, I think, San Diego, and we went to this big, huge, amazing place that had bowling and bocce ball and outdoor heaters, and it was a big giant, several bars. It was just a really great place to have a social, which we're probably going to have like a Hornet social on Thursday night. And typically we do something on Friday night as well. If you're around on Saturday night, if you don't have anywhere to be, Saturday, we typically hang out with a bunch of alumni, and usually there's like 5 or 6 students who kind of trickle in, because a lot of people go to Disneyland on Sunday. So there's all those types of things. If your conference is down in Disneyland, that option is there as well. So let me know if you have any questions. But again, it's super important that you pronounce it CAHPERD. And so I always say that friends don't let friends say CAHPERD. It's CAHPERD. It's P-E. If you look at it, C-A-H. So K, that's weird because people want to go ka something. P-E-R-D is PERD. CAHPERD. CAHPERD. Okay. Let's see. You must attend everything that's listed in order to get credit. Please make sure that you understand, and please make sure you ask me before the conference. So somewhere in this thing down here, it'll talk more specifically about why asking me before the conference is important. And it is really important that you know the questions that you have, and that you know the answers to your questions by being prepared and not asking me. Here it is right here. I didn't realize it was so close. I really have about 10 to 15 roles every single year. Every single year, I'm doing a million things. I'm on the board, I'm planning things. I'm part of, I'm either a vice president, or I won't be president until I retire, but I call myself in the CAHPERD zone. So I don't like to be taken out of the CAHPERD zone to be pulled back in the professor zone. And so it's really important that you pay attention, read everything, plan everything ahead of time, and then ask me the questions that you have before we go. And then if you don't, then I like to employ the ask 3 before you ask me policy. So if you ask 3 people and they don't know the answer, then it even says it here, send the bravest one to ask me. And there's a little LOL there, because if literally 3 of you don't know, 4 of you don't know, because you're going to ask 3 before you ask me. 4 people don't know, then, clearly there's been some miscommunication. So it's important that you ask, or sometimes things have changed. It's okay. Generally speaking, I don't want to talk about Sac State. I want to talk about how amazing you are and the Hornets are. I'm going to try to get you all jobs. If you want to work in Monterey, I'm going to introduce you to the Monterey people. If you know that you want to move down south, you want LA, you want San Diego, because I'll introduce you to those people. So basically, I'm there to get to learn myself, to put on a great conference, and to make sure that you are enjoying and getting everything that you can out of the conference as well. So let's see. It says attaches the conference schedule. The schedule is actually online. I find that if I just send everybody to Capered, you just click on the conference and it has all the buttons for tentative schedule and Disneyland hotels and or Disneyland tickets and hotels and everything. And so you can find all your information there. There will be a conference app. It's great. You all live your lives through apps. You'll love it. Most of the time, there's no problems with it. It's amazing. Things can be updated immediately. If you are a planner and you want to go in and plan everything now to make sure that you've got your 9 sessions and your 4 dance and however many general sessions or grand sessions you've got to attend, you can tab them all in there. And then if something happens, if a session is moved or if one is canceled, you'll instantly get notified on your app. It's time sensitive. So when there's 15 minutes till one starts, it'll say your session is about to start. Please head to, session room, whatever, and it'll give you the room. There's a map on the app. Everything's on the app. So it is typically EduPlus. I don't actually know if it is currently. And usually it's an EDU with a plus on it, a little tiny plus. But you'll see it in the main registration room. You'll probably scan something and you'll be taken right to our page. Typically, sometimes conferences go on Saturday as well. Sometimes we chop off Thursday. But typically conferences go Thursday for like certifications. You can do like 4-hour classes in self-defense or CPR, things like that. They cost more, but there are little sessions in there that are just general population that don't cost money, that can be anything. I've done some dance things on those days where they're longer. They're like 2-hour sessions. And so just know that if you attend a 2-hour session, you get credit for 2 of your sessions in there. At the end of Thursday, we typically do a social, and that's usually kind of like bring everybody in who's there. It's usually pretty fun. Sometimes it's bowling, or, sometimes there's kind of those types of things. And obviously the location will be to be determined. No matter where the conference is, if you live in the conference area and you know a good place for lots of people, anywhere from 30 to 50 people or more, that's fun and has, fun things to do, let me know. And also with hotels and things like that, or any kind of intel, good food, all those types of things, please let me know so we can kind of put together a really good list of things that are going to make us successful and have fun. Friday night, we typically do the student competition. I think it's always been on Friday night. It's always been the expectation that you all go. You can bring others. And we will talk about appropriate behavior down lower here just a second. And then usually there's kind of some kind of a social event, if you will, after, where we invite all the other Hornet people as well. And we'll talk about that as well. And then Saturday evening, again, for those who stay in town, let me know and I'll kind of loop you in on what's going to happen on that night. Okay, registration. I know I mentioned it in the last video, but it is really, really important. If you show up at least 30 minutes early, you will be in cruise control. You can sit down and have a coffee and have a pastry or drink your water and your protein drinks or your whatever you're going to do. If you show up between 20 and, the time your first session starts, it's a nightmare. It's always a nightmare. No matter what we do, it's a nightmare, no matter how many people help, no matter how organized we are. So escape the nightmare and don't stand in those lines. If you know that you have to be at a session at 8 o'clock, you've got to make sure that you register before then. You cannot show up at 7:45 and hope it goes well, whether you're registered, whether you haven't registered, whatever. Because even picking up your registration packet, if you're pre-registered, takes time. And so in the morning is always crazy, especially the first morning, because we're trying to figure everything out. We're trying to figure out how to do the little square chargey thing, and Apple Pay usually doesn't work in these. It's hard. So make sure that you show up early and be bored and hang out, as opposed to stressed and wondering if you're going to get some places. You'll in the registration area, and you'll see no matter where you show up in the convention center, it'll kind of direct you to the registration area. There's pre-registration desks where you'll go to your last name. You'll find, like I would find a K, see the big K back there. And I would go to where it's the K, it's K through Z, and I'll ask for my pre-registration packet. If I've already paid for registration, I'll get my packet and go on my merry way. It's got my name tag. It's got lots of flyers. Sometimes it'll have a program in there, all those types of things. If you are pre-registered, then you need to go to the big long line and register there. So get yourself a form that'll have all the registration information, fill it out while you're in line, and then you get to the front and you pay. They'll type out your name tag. It's very long process and a pain in the butt. Give yourself time, pre-register, however that makes it work. Okay, let's see. Super important that you must participate in sessions, especially dance sessions, to receive credit. So dance is a no-brainer. You have to participate. A lot of times you will go into a session, let's say that there's like 100 people around the perimeter and they're teaching you all a game, and they only have like 20 rackets. Then try to be cognizant of the fact that we don't just want you to jump in and hog all of the spaces, all of the conference the entire time. Be kind of cognizant of other people. They pay a ton of money. It costs like $290 for professional people to come to conferences. And sometimes they just want to be in it and doing it. And if all they see are Sac State people, they might be like, hey, a big conference hogs. So kind of be cognizant and know that you should participate. The more you participate, the more you remember. But just be aware that there are others who are there for the same thing that you are, and they want to get in there and try things out as well. So but if it's a dance session, you cannot sit on the sideline, period. It says volunteer, but don't be volunteer hogs. Pay attention in sessions, really important. This is a professional conference, and this is kind of your first opportunity to be professional in this field. If you've gone to other conferences, you kind of know, the ropes, if you will. Pay attention, support presenters, support each other, be kind and accepting of people from other colleges, and that's a big deal because sometimes they're hard to accept and they're hard to like. Because even though there's Fresno and there's Chico and Chico and Sac State usually have a pretty decent, amazing relationship. Cal Poly, we have a good relationship with. There are some programs who are difficult to get along with. In the past, we've actually even had some professors charter a bus. They bust in all these amazing college scholarship athletes to clean everybody up in the student competition, and then they left and they never attended a single session. So obviously I find that problematic. Especially since I'm trying to build our profession and build professionals. So definitely that's not something that we will ever do. Make sure you meet people from other schools. Make sure you're kind to people at other schools. And one of the things about Sacramento State is that there's so many of you. You will be part of the biggest group that's there. And people love the vibe. And so it's important that you protect this culture of this Hornet pride. Be proud of yourselves. Be, hook together, stay together. Don't let like a one Hornet kind of be by themselves. Invite them in, take care of each other. And know that there's a lot of people, I hear at every single conference, that there's a lot of people are like, people will come to Sac State from what they've seen at conferences before. They love everything about it. Well, people will come mostly to grad school because they're usually kind of seniors when they go to conferences. And so then they'll come for grad school, which isn't our best program, but we're working on it. Our undergrad program is the best. And people want to be a part of that. So if they can't be an undergraduate in our program, they want to hang out with us. They want to laugh with us. They want to be part of the reindeer games, if you will. And so kind of be kind and don't be like an elitist, like we're Sac State, we're the best. I mean, we are Sac State and we are the best, but also invite people into that kind of world. It's amazing. So strike up conversations, introduce people. It's kind of fun to be like, what do you take for this class? What do you take for this class? What do you take for anatomy? What's your dance class like? And, sometimes it's nice to hear other people who come from great programs. And what I really like for you all, not particularly for other people in the state, is when you compare our programs to other programs and you realize how much more prepared and how amazing your experience is going to be as compared to others. So definitely kind of be open, be amazing, invite people, because basically you're at these programs for 2-3 years of your life, right? Once you're done, you're all part of a different family. You're all part of the PE family up and down the state of California. So the people that you meet are going to be your colleagues. And so make sure that you share contact information. And, if I'll like I said, I'll hook you up with people who are in different content logistic areas. So if you want to work, in Fresno, I'll hook you up with the Fresno people, all those types of things. This is an opportunity to network And sometimes there's even job boards that, I don't know if there is this time, we haven't talked about it, but there could be in the last minute kind of pulled up job boards and you can take information from people. And this is really kind of the time to strike up conversations with professors or department heads of other places and kind of see what it's like to get jobs in these other places. Yeah, this is a perfect place to find like-minded people who are, have the same experiences and the same wants and desires and future hopes as everybody else. So it's hard most years, but this year is in particular that to get your team ready for the competition now. And so a lot of you have been in classes with people and you kind of know who are the most skillful people. Student teachers can come as well because they're still undergraduate or they're still future professionals. And so sometimes it's kind of nice to have a combination of the student student teachers, seniors, juniors, whatever. But we do want to put our strongest foot forward. Usually it's 4 or 5 people per team. Sometimes it's 8. It's changes every year, and what you're going to be competing in changes every year. Sometimes there's dance. Sometimes there's things that involve rubber chickens. Sometimes there's things that involve, footballs, rugby balls. Sometimes there's racket sports. A lot of the times it will involve people who are in the exhibit hall. So if someone is rolling out a new cool sport or toy or game, usually that's in the student competition, some capacity. But basically, we want to do our best. So we do want to stack 1, maybe 2 teams, depending on how many they kind of let us in. And then from there, we want to be the best representatives that we can. And I'm not going to lie that there are times that it's tough. People will push our buttons in a kind of a competitive way. And 100% you are expected to take the high road, no questions asked whatsoever, no matter how low the low road is. The old Michelle Obama quote sure has worked for a very long time, is that if they go low, you go high, period. You shake hands, you introduce, you shake hands after, regardless. And so if you are having a hard time with that, then you need to get yourself a buddy that helps you, because it's completely unacceptable any other way. So basically, I want you to shake hands, introduce yourself, be good competitors, take care of each other. And my favorite quote is play hard, play fair, have fun. And then, I want to bring the trophy home. So let's work on that. What to wear? Basically, you just wear your active clothes. You can wear as many leggings and stretchy things that you can't wear in class if you'd like. Don't have to wear a collared shirt. You should wear things that have Sac State on them. And if you don't have some Sac State gear, you should go to the bookstore. They have like the little rolled t-shirts. They're like $12, maybe a little bit more these days. But you can get some pretty good cheap ones. It'll say like Sac State Athletics on it or whatever. As long as you have some Sac State gear, you should be wearing that kind of every day to make sure that, you're part of the Hornet family. Some other things, the general session information. So whether it's called the general session, the keynote speaker, the grand session, the requirements are the same. Usually you all sit together, which is great. The problem with that is that then you tend to be a little bit more off task, and it's more visible that you're off task in that setting, which is completely unprofessional. So, I know we check our phones, and a lot of time I'll be checking the app to see where I'm going next. But definitely don't be on your social media. Don't be, making TikToks, watching TikTok, whatever on Insta. Like, try to stay away from social media as much as possible during the general sessions. And really in general, like if you walk into a session, you immediately get on your phone, you are not meeting people, you are not socializing. And I get it. It's the world that we kind of live in now, but this is a really good opportunity to not be that person. And so, be engaged, be in the moment, meet people, listen. And like I said before in the last video, some of the general session is a snooze fest. It's talking about treasury items, talking about candidates. And a lot of times there's only one candidate, so there is no debate. You know you're going to vote for the one person that's running for president. But just basically pay attention, be professional. And of course, that you always have to take a picture of yourself proving that you were in the general session. So prove that you're in the big room. Don't take it in the doorway where it looks like you just bolted. Be in a seat. be in the middle of it all, take pictures, and then make sure you're kind of always professional. So don't take a lot of pictures during, don't be on your phone a lot of times during, things like that. So again, the phone thing, no phones in sessions while presenters are talking, because though you might live in a world where that's completely acceptable, your professional world is not. You can't go into a meeting and be on your phone. You can't go into a class and be on your phone as a teacher. So, and you're there. And so the expectation is that you will do those things. This is important, and it's hard for people to understand, but I promise you it's okay. So this one says, if you are not interested in a session that you are attending, it is okay to leave. If you are sitting front and center in a lecture where there's tables and you're right in front of the person presenting and you're like, yeah, I'm not interested, I promise you it is okay to leave. People do it all the time, and not because sessions aren't interesting, because a lot of the times their sessions are so interesting that two sessions that you're really super interested in occur at the same time. So then you have to make a decision, which one am I going to first and which one am I going to go to second? And so many people do that. So lots of leaving and going and coming. You can stay in the back if you want to make it less inconspicuous. You just got to make sure that no matter where you went, you get somebody's signature. But it is okay, because sometimes, like for example, I gave my title of my sessions for my whatever sessions I'm doing, like in June. Things change. I changed tons of things. And so if you read the session description and you're like, yeah, that sounds amazing, and you get here and I've changed a little bit and it no longer sounds amazing, then leave and go find something that's amazing. Always, I promise you it's okay. Okay, so bring snacks, water, cash to buy snacks, food throughout the day, bring something to write with, something to take notes on and with, especially if you're going to go into lecture style things. You will want a bag. Sometimes they give you a little backpack at registration, which is fine, but you'll be kind of, there will be handouts that you'll take. When you have the app is amazing, and all of us have loaded all of our information onto the app so that when you get home, you can, if you went into a session that you loved lots of the games, in the app, you'll have it. You can download it, print it off, or save it to your computer, keep it forever. Let's see, take lots and lots and lots of pictures. Whenever possible, make sure that you post them and give them to me so I can put them all over the bulletin boards. The more group pictures, the better. I will not be able to post pictures onto any of the 4 bulletin boards that I manage on campus if you have drinks in your hands. So make sure that you take lots of pictures of you in groups with no drinks. And it's especially like at the student competition, I want you to take tons of pictures on your phone and then send them to me. I'll create maybe a Google Dropbox and you can all drop them in there. Let's see, wear your sack state gear, obviously. And again, it is important, I think it's kind of closing, yep, that you are a great representative of CSUS, that you're a great representative of our program, great representatives of your class, of yourself, of me. And so be on your best professional behavior. And, if you go places where there are beverages, you need to be careful. You need to be careful. Watch yourself, watch others, take care of yourself, take care of others. And don't be that person that you go, ooh, must be your first beverage. So, make good decisions, and then it can be a really good time, because nothing's worse than not being able to get up at 8 in the morning. And so you need to balance. All of this needs to kind of be balanced, and then you will be successful. So again, have fun, take care of each other, learn a lot. Remember, it's called CAHPERD. Let me know if you have any questions before we go. It says right here, before we go. Big, let's make it big. Let's do this. Yeah, don't pull me out of the CAHPERD zone to go in the professor zone. And yeah, meet people, be amazing. Let's get you some jobs. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm really, really, really excited, and I can't wait for you all to go. And yeah, that's it. Have a good one.